Aaron.
Hey, McGraw, good morning. It was feistier than the 8 previous Democratic debates for sure. Gone was that kind of genteel tone. And right from the start, Bernie Sanders, as you heard, questioned Hillary Clinton's judgment. And that set off a night of sparring between the two candidates. And if Hillary Clinton had any intention of simply turning her spotlight onto Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders wouldn't let her. She attacked Clinton on her ties to Wall Street, on her votes for the Iraq War, for trade deals. Clinton was ready, and at every turn expressed confidence. She pointed to pieces of her resume where she had dealt with all the issues that had come up, and yet there was Sanders trying to poke at her as he realized, I think, this was probably the last time the two will engage directly on a stage like this.
It was on CNN, and that audio is courtesy of CNN. Aaron Katersky, you have your feet to the ground, and you pay attention to this stuff better than anybody. It almost seems like they're just talking to themselves and their most avid supporters, and the rest of the country has sort of passed them by and has moved on to something else.
Maybe, but there's still a lot of voting left in a lot of different states. New York coming up 4 days from now, and I think they need to lock this down. For Sanders, he's looking for an upset win that he thinks would really start to raise questions about Clinton's viability for the nomination. He, in fact, predicted he would win the nomination. And then I think Clinton has been trying to portray this race as over, and she tried to make the turn that she's the one to unify the Democratic Party. But Sanders isn't going to let her go that easily, and I think you saw that reflected in a lot of his answers. Any kind of reconciliation, kumbaya moment's going to have to wait.
I also find it interesting that they were arguing over a 1994 crime bill signed by President Clinton, the husband, voted on by Bernie Sanders, and she was the first lady at the time, and she was taking the most grief for it.
It was really an interesting moment, but it has come up lately because the Black Lives Matter movement has raised questions about the 1994 crime bill, saying that it incarcerated a disproportionate number of African Americans, and so Clinton's had to answer for it. And she also had to answer for her use of the term super predator to describe some gang members, and Bernie Sanders took issue and said it was a racist term. So all of that is coming up to the fore. How much that resonates around the country, who knows? But it was yet another point where Bernie Sanders could just poke at Clinton, and Clinton was frankly ready for it. She said she regretted and apologized for some of the unintended consequences of the crime bill. She also defended parts of it that she said made lives better, including the Violence Against Women Act.
Yeah, but it's still scratching your head. He voted for it. The husband passed it. He voted for it, and she was the one taking all the grief over the whole thing. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I think that that's where she gets frustrated, and where she points to this deep resume that she has and says, "Look, I have this deep resume. I am qualified. You want to call out certain pieces? Go ahead."
Yeah, when you're getting your dirty hot dog, dirty water hot dog on the corner, or your pretzel, what are regular New Yorkers saying about this whole thing?
Well, there were food trucks out there last night befitting Brooklyn. It was corned beef and pastrami, in addition to hot dogs and a knish, which is delicious. So clearly the best food of the debate so far. But I think people are saying that it was feisty and that it was raucous and that this was the kind of debate they wish they'd had all along, because you really saw the contrast. Are you voting with your heart, or are you voting with your head? Are you a progressive who really wants Hillary Clinton to be pinned down to your cause? And Sanders tried with the minimum wage, with Social Security, but she wouldn't do it. And she constantly portrays herself as far more pragmatic of a candidate than Bernie Sanders ever could be.
Aaron Katersky, who does know how to swipe his Metro card in the sublink very efficiently. Aaron Katersky, have a good weekend. Thanks for checking in.
6:56.